Shalom, family, and thank you so much for joining us for this week's scripture reading. And this week we'll be reading from Genesis chapter 23, verse 1 through chapter 25, verse 18, 1 Kings chapter 1, verses 1 through verse 31, Matthew chapter 1, verses 1 through 17, and 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 50 through 57. And Sarah was 127 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead, and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a dweller with you. Give me a possession for a burial place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Hear us, my master, you are a mighty prince among us. In the choicest of our sepulchres bury your dead. None of us shall withhold from you his sepulchre, so that you may bury your dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, listen to me and inquire for me to Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for a possession, for a burial place among you. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even all those that went in at the gate of his city, saying, No, my master, hear me. The field I give you, and the cave that is in it, I give it to you. In the presence of the sons of my people, I give it to you. Bury your dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. And he spoke to Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if you will give it to me, please hear me. I will give you money for the field. Take it from me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, My master, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Bury therefore your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron. And Abraham weighed for Ephron the silver, which he had named in the presence of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave that was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders all around, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham for a possession, for a burial place, by the sons of Heth. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yahuwah had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said to his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, Please put your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by Yahuwah, the Elohayim of the heavens, and the Elohayim of the earth, that you shall not take a wife for my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. But you shall go to my country and to my family, and take a wife for my son Isaac. And the servant said to him, Suppose the woman will not be willing to follow me to this land, Do I need to bring your son again to the land from where you came?" And Abraham said to him, "Beware that you bring not my son there again. Yahuwah Elohim of the heavens, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my family, and who spoke to me, and that swore to me, saying, Unto your seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman will not be willing to follow you, then ye shall be clear from this oath, only bring not my son there again." And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning that matter. And the servant took 10 camels from the camels of his master, and departed. For all the items of his master were in his hand. And he arose, and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. And he made his camels to kneel down outside the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. And he said, "O Yahuwah, Elohim of my master Abraham, please send me with your barakah this day, and show mercy to my master Abraham. See, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the young girl to whom I shall say, Please let down your pitcher that I may drink, and she shall say, Drink, and I will give your camels drink also. Let the same be she that you have appointed for your servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that you have shown mercy to my master." And it came to pass, before he had done speaking, that, see, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the young girl was very beautiful to look at, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well, and filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her, and said, Please, let me drink a little water from your pitcher. And she said, Drink, my master. And she hurried, and let down her pitcher upon her hand, and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for your camels also, until they have done drinking. And she hurried, and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again to the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels. And the man wondering about her held his silence, to see whether Yahuwah had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said, Whose daughter are you? Please tell me, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge? And she said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, that she bore to Nahor. She said moreover to him, We have both straw and fodder enough, and room to lodge. And the man bowed down his head, and worshipped Yahuwah. And he said, Baruch Yahuwah Elohim of my master Abraham, who has not left my master destitute of his mercy and his truth. I was traveling in the way, and now Yahuwah has led me to the house of my master's brothers. And the young girl ran and told those of her mother's house these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out to the man to the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, This is what the man spoke to me. Then Laban came to the man, as he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, Come in, you, Baruch of Yahuwah. Why do you stand outside? For I have prepared the house and room for the camels. And the man came into the house, and he undressed his camels, and gave straw and fodder for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there were set food before him to eat. But he said, I will not eat until I have told my errand. And he said, Speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant. And Yahuwah has Baruch my master greatly, and he is become great, and he has given him flocks and herds, and silver and gold, and male servants and female servants, and camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and to him has he given all that he has. And my master made me swear, saying, You shall not take a wife for my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell, but ye shall go to my father's house, and to my family, and take a wife for my son. And I said to my master, Suppose the woman will not follow me. And he said to me, Yahuwah, before whom I have my way, will send his angel with you, and prosper your way. And ye shall take a wife for my son from my family, and from my father's house. Then shall ye be clear from this oath when you come to my family. If they give you no one, you shall be clear from my oath. And I came this day to the well, and said, O Yahuwah, Elohayim of my master Abraham, if now you do prosper my way in which I go, see, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin comes out to draw water, and I say to her, Please give me a little water from your pitcher to drink, and she says to me, Drink, and I will draw for your camels too. Let therefore the same one be the woman whom Yahuwah has appointed for my master's son. And before I had done speaking in my heart, see, Rebekah came out with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down to the well and drew water. And I said to her, Please let me drink. And she hurried and let down her pitcher from her shoulder and said, Drink, and I will give your camels drink also. So I drank, and she gave the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, Whose daughter are you? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. And I put the earring upon her face, and the bracelets upon her hands. And I bowed down my head, and worshipped Yahuwah, and blessed Yahuwah Elohayim of my master Abraham, who had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter to his son. And now, if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. Then Lavan and Bethuel answered and said, This thing proceeds from Yahuwah. We cannot speak to you bad or good. See, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go. Let her be your master's son's wife, as Yahuwah has spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped Yahuwah, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought out jewels of silver and jewels of gold and clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and stayed all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, Send me away to my master. And her brother and her mother said, Let the young girl stay with us a few days, at least 10. After that she shall go. And he said to them, Do not hinder me, seeing Yahuwah has prospered my way. Send me away, that I may go to my master. And they said, We will call the young girl and ask her. And they called Rebekah and said to her, Will you go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Rebekah their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they Baruch Rebekah, and said to her, "You are our sister. Now become the mother of thousands of millions, and let your seed possess the gates of those who hate them." And Rebekah arose, and her young girls, and they rode upon the camels, and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah, and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of the well, Lahai Roi, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field in the evening. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and see, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she was lifted from off the camel. For she had said to the servant, "What man is this that walks in the field to meet us?" And the servant had said, "It is my master." Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bore him Zimran, and Yokshan, and Meden, and Midian, and Ishvak, and Shua. And Yokshan begat Sheva and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Assyrians, and Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, Hanuk, and Avidah, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac. But to the sons of the concubines whom Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son eastward to the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, that he lived 175 years. Then Abraham gave up the Ruach, and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zoar the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field that Abraham purchased from the sons of Heth. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that Elohayam Baruch his son Isaac. And Isaac dwelt by the well Lahai Roi. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bore to Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their generations: the firstborn of Ishmael, Navayot, and Kedar, and Adviel, and Mithsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Masa, Hadar, and Tema, Yetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by the towns and by their settlements, 12 princes, according to their tribes. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the Ruach, and died, and was gathered to his people. And they dwelt from Havilah to Shur, that is before Egypt, as you go towards Assyria, facing their brothers did they settle. 1 Kings chapter 1. Now King David was old, and advanced in years, and they covered him with clothes, but he could not get warm. Therefore his servant said to him, "Let there be sought for my master the king a young virgin, and let her stand before the king, and let her cherish him, and let her lie in your bosom, that my master the king may be warm." So they sought for a lovely young woman throughout all the borders of Yasharel, and found Avishag, a Shunammite, and brought her to the king. And the young woman was very lovely, and cherished the king, and was a friend to him. But the king knew her not. Then Adonijah, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, "I will be king." And he prepared chariots and horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. And his father had not rebuked him at any time in saying, "Why have you done this?" And he also was a very handsome man, and his mother bore him after Absalom. And he conferred with Joab, the son of Teruah, and with Abiathar the priest, and they supported Adonijah and helped him. But Zadok the priest, and Benayahu, the son of Jehoiada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimei, and Ray, the mighty men who belonged to David, were not with Adonijah. And Adonijah offered sheep and oxen and fat cattle by the stone of Zokeleth, which is by En Rochel, and called all his brothers the king's sons, and all the men of Yehudah, the king's servants. But Nathan the prophet, and Benayahu, and the mighty men, and Shlomo his brother, he did not call. Nathan then spoke to Bathsheba, the mother of Shlomo, saying, Have you not heard that Adonijah the son of Haggith has become king, and David our master does not know it? Now therefore come, let me, I ask you, give you advice, that you may save your own life and the life of your son Shlomo. Go to King David, and say to him, Did you not, my master, O king, swear to your female servant, saying, Certainly Shlomo your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne? Why then does Adonijah reign? See, while ye yet talk there with the king, I also will come in after you, and confirm your words. And Bathsheba went in to the king into the bedroom, and the king was very old, and Abishag the Shunammite was serving the king. And Bathsheba bowed and did obeisance to the king. And the king said, What do you want? And she said to him, My master, you swore by Yahuwah your Elohayim to your female servant, saying, Certainly Shlomo your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne. And now see, Adonijah reigns, and now my master the king, you don't even know it. And he has sacrificed oxen and fat cattle and sheep in abundance, and has called all the sons of the king, and Abiathar the priest, and Joab the captain of the army, but Shlomo your servant has he not called. And you, my master, O king, the eyes of all Yasharel are upon you, that you should tell them who shall sit on the throne of my master the king after him. Otherwise it shall come to pass, when my master the king shall die with his fathers, that I and my son Shlomo shall be considered as sinners. And see, while she yet talked with the king, Nathan the prophet also came in. And they told the king, saying, See, Nathan the prophet is here. And when he had come in before the king, he bowed himself before the king, with his face to the ground. And Nathan said, My master, O king, did you say, Adonijah shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne? For he is gone down this day, and has sacrificed oxen and fat cattle, and sheep in abundance, and has called all the king's sons, and the captains of the army, and Abiathar the priest, and see, they eat and drink before him, and say, Lechaim, King Adonijah. But me, even your servant, and Zadok the priest, and Benayahu the son of Jehoiada, and your servant Shlomo, all of us, has he not called. Is this thing done by my master the king, and you have not shown to him who should sit on the throne of my master the king after him? Then King David answered and said, Call Bathsheba. And she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king swore and said, As Yahuwah lives, that has redeemed my being out of all distress, even as I swore to you by Yahuwah, Elohayim of Yasharel, saying, Certainly Shlomo your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne in my place. Even so will I certainly do again this day. Then Bathsheba bowed with her face to the ground, and did prostrate herself before the king, and said, Let my master King David live forever. Matthew chapter 1, verse 1. The scroll of the generations of Yahusha the Mashiach, son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac begat Yaakov, and Yaakov begat Yahudah and his brothers. And Yahudah begat Pharez and Zerah of Tamar, and Pharez begat Hezron, and Hezron begat Ram. And Ram begat Aminadab, and Aminadab begat Nachshon, and Nachshon begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Boaz of Rachab, and Boaz begat Oved of Ruth, and Oved begat Yishai, and Yishai begat David the king. And David the king begat Shlomo of her that had been the wife of Uriah. And Shlomo begat Rechavam, and Rechavam begat Aviah, and Aviah begat Asa, and Asa begat Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat begat Yahuram, and Yahuram begat Uzziyahu, and Uzziyahu begat Joatham, and Joatham begat Achaz, and Achaz begat Hizkiyahu, and Hizkiyahu begat Manasseh, and Manasseh begat Ammon, and Ammon begat Yoshiyahu, and Yoshiyahu begat Jeconiah and his brothers, about the time they were carried away to Babylon. And after the exile to Babylon, Jochiah begat Shealtiel, and Shealtiel begat Zerubbabel, and Zerubbabel begat Abihud, and Abihud begat Al-Yakim, and Al-Yakim begat Azor, and Azor begat Zedok, and Zedok begat Akim, and Akim begat Elihud, and Elihud begat Al-Azar, and Al-Azar begat Matan, and Matan begat Yaakov, and Yaakov begat Yosef. This Yosef was the husband of Miriam, from whom was born Yahusha, who is called the Mashiach. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations, and from David until the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations, and from the carrying away into Babylon to the Messiah are 14 generations. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 50. Now this I say, Yasharelite brothers, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah, neither does corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a secret. We shall not all die, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last ram's horn. For the ram's horn shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, Death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is your sting? O hell, where is your victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the Torah instructions violations. But thanks be to Yahuwah, who gives us the victory through our Master, Yahusha HaMashiach. Thank you so much for joining us. Shabbat Shalom.